I always wanted to be a middle linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I loved Derrick Brooks and Hardy Nickerson, so baseball was, just kind of, I enjoyed it, but I would have never thought I would be where I'm at now. I think at a younger age, my dad might have noticed that I could play sports, so he was like, I want you to pick 3. And then when I got to high school, my dad was like, you need to pick 2 to focus on. I just finished exams and we came home and there was a bunch of cars outside, and we lived in like a townhome, and so I was like, man, this is weird, and we went up the stairs, and I remember just being, because I was so goofy, I was like, what are we throwing a party? Because I graduated like, my sophomore year. And I saw my mom come out of the kitchen, and she was, she was full of tears. When I saw her, it was like a movie, man. It's like, what you see, you just knew. I was like, what happened to Dad? I was just crushed. I mean, I remember just crying, running into my room and locking the door. People wanting to come in. I remember punching a hole through the door because I was so mad. I didn't even know who God was, really, but I was mad at him. I was like, man, why would you take the most important person in my life away from me? I was so grateful for somebody in my life. His name was Roy Silver, that was there for me and took me in. It was a Christian academy in Clearwater, Florida, and I would go there and I would hit. And I would just hit till like 10 o'clock at night. And that was kind of my therapy. Darren Roberts was reading a Bible and spring training in the clubhouse, and that was so like out of the norm. I asked him, talked to him, he asked me if I was a man of faith. I said, nah. Well, first I was like, what does that mean? I had just gotten sent down from big league camp, and then one of the rules is you can't wear turfs out on the field. So of course, me being arrogant, I was like, I'm gonna wear turfs. There's no way they're gonna make me wear cleats, So I go down there and the coach is like, hey, and I can tell he doesn't really wanna stir any feathers, but he says, hey, I need them. He's like, I'll go get them. And I'm like half mad at him because I'm like, don't do that, because I want to see how far I can push this coach. So he runs all the way back, gets them, brings them all the way back, and I'm like, thank you. But I'm also like, man, I wish you wouldn't have done that. But I'm also blown away because I would never do that for somebody. That brought about an avenue for me to go, man, what's your deal? Why would you do that? I remember he put his Bible down on the table and he just is like, man, tell me about yourself. And didn't say anything about the Bible, but I knew the whole time, I'm like, man, he wants to talk about this Bible. So we finished dinner and he's like, man, I'd love to share with you about Jesus more. Would you be willing? And I said, yeah. He walked me through the scriptures, and I remember him sharing Ephesians 2:8, for by grace you've been saved, that not of yourselves, but a gift from God, so that no man can boast. And so when I realized that there was nothing I could do to earn my salvation, it was only by the grace of God, and I was like, that's it? Like this whole world preaches how you gotta earn everything and you gotta do all these things. That's gotta be too easy. This is, you get to spend, heaven with God, and this is what I have to confess, and this is what I have to believe in. And he's like, well, yeah. And then he was like, I'd love to walk this out with you too. We prayed that night, and I just remember God just radically changing, my heart, in the sense of like, I just wanted to get to know Jesus. I had no idea who this Jesus guy was. I'd heard about him for years, but I'm like, this is totally different than what I heard. Because of the circumstances and what God's allowed me to see and go through, and my heart is for kids that don't have an earthly father. You could lose your father or not have him in a tragedy, but yet God is always there for you, and he's your father for eternity.